Have you ever wondered whether the last thing you eat before bed could either help your liver heal or quietly make it work overtime all night long? Most people think of the liver as an organ that only matters after you've had too much alcohol. Others assume that if they don't drink, their liver is perfectly healthy. But here's what many people don't realize. Today, the fastest growing form of liver disease around the world isn't caused by alcohol at all. It's driven by insulin resistance, excess body fat, chronic inflammation, poor sleep, and metabolic dysfunction. In other words, the same processes that contribute to weight gain, fatigue, prediabetes, and accelerated aging are also silently affecting your liver. Now here's where things become fascinating. Your liver doesn't simply turn off when you fall asleep. In fact, nighttime is one of the busiest periods of the day for this incredible organ. While you're resting, your liver is regulating blood sugar, recycling hormones, repairing damaged cells, producing antioxidants like glutathione, processing toxins, managing cholesterol, and preparing your metabolism for the following morning. Think of your liver as the overnight maintenance crew in a large office building. During the day, employees are constantly creating activity and making messes. But after everyone leaves, the maintenance team comes in to clean, repair, organize, and prepare everything before sunrise. If the crew has the right tools and enough time, the building functions beautifully the next day. But if they're interrupted, overloaded, or given poor quality materials to work with, problems slowly begin to accumulate. That's exactly what happens inside your body. Here's what's really going on inside your body. If your evening meal causes repeated blood sugar spikes, keeps insulin elevated for hours, disrupts your sleep, or overloads your liver with excess fructose from processed foods and sugary desserts, your liver spends the night dealing with metabolic chaos instead of repairing itself. On the other hand, the right foods, eaten in the right amount and at the right time, can actually support better overnight metabolism, healthier blood sugar control, improved sleep quality, reduced inflammation, and more efficient liver function. One food in particular has attracted increasing scientific interest. Surprisingly, it's a fruit. Now, before you think, wait a minute, aren't fruits full of sugar? Stay with me. This is where context matters. Not all fruits behave the same way inside the body. The amount of fiber, antioxidants, polyphenols, vitamins, minerals, natural sugars, and even the timing of consumption can dramatically influence how your metabolism responds. The goal isn't simply avoiding sugar. The goal is supporting metabolic flexibility, helping your body use energy efficiently while allowing your liver to perform its nightly repair work. What the research shows is that certain fruits contain unique combinations of antioxidants, vitamin C, fiber, potassium, serotonin precursors, and plant compounds that not only support sleep quality, but may also reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, two major drivers of metabolic liver disease. Better sleep itself has also been consistently linked with improved insulin sensitivity and healthier liver fat metabolism. And among all the fruits studied, one continues to stand out because it supports several of these pathways simultaneously. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your liver performs most of its repair work while you're asleep, which fruit offers the strongest combination of nutrients for overnight recovery, why timing matters just as much as the food itself, which bedtime snacks accidentally sabotage liver health, and a simple nighttime routine you can begin tonight to support healthier metabolism, better sleep, and long-term liver function. Because optimizing your liver isn't about finding a miracle food. It's about giving your body's most hard-working organ the conditions it needs to do what it was designed to do. And sometimes, one simple habit before bed can become the first domino that improves dozens of processes throughout your body. If you're serious about improving your metabolism naturally, not just treating symptoms, but addressing the root causes, you're in the right place. And if this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. Every week, I share practical, science-based strategies that help you support your metabolism, protect your organs, and build lasting health naturally. Most people judge their liver by how they feel. If they don't have pain, jaundice, or abnormal blood tests, they assume everything is fine. But the truth is, the liver is remarkably resilient. It can continue functioning even when it's under significant stress, which is why metabolic liver problems often develop silently over many years. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your liver is the central processing plant of your metabolism. Nearly everything you eat, drink, absorb, or produce hormonally passes through it in some way. During the day, it's busy processing nutrients, storing glycogen, regulating cholesterol, producing bile for digestion, detoxifying medications, breaking down old red blood cells, and converting amino acids into forms your body can use. Then night arrives. Many people imagine the body going into sleep mode, almost like switching off a computer. But biologically, the opposite is true. While your brain and muscles are resting, your liver shifts into maintenance mode. It begins prioritizing repair, balancing blood sugar, recycling damaged cellular components, regulating hormones, and producing protective molecules that help defend your cells from oxidative stress. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your liver is the cleaning crew in a large hospital. During the day, doctors, nurses, patients, and visitors create constant activity. Floors get dirty, equipment is used, supplies are moved, and waste accumulates. The cleaning crew can't perform deep maintenance while everyone is rushing through the hallways. Instead, most of the important work happens overnight, when the building becomes quieter. Your liver operates much the same way. Sleep creates an environment where your body can redirect energy away from movement and digestion and toward repair and restoration. If you consistently go to bed after overeating, consuming alcohol, or eating large amounts of highly processed foods, it's like asking that cleaning crew to spend the entire night hauling away garbage instead of repairing the building. Eventually, maintenance starts falling behind. This is one reason why metabolic dysfunction can slowly develop, despite someone believing they're eating pretty well. What the research shows is that your body's internal clock, known as the circadian rhythm, plays a major role in liver function. The liver contains its own biological clock, with thousands of genes turning on and off at specific times over a 24-hour cycle. These rhythms help regulate glucose production, fat metabolism, cholesterol synthesis, bile acid production, and cellular repair. When sleep schedules are irregular or late-night eating becomes routine, these natural rhythms can become disrupted, increasing the risk of insulin resistance and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. One of the liver's most important nighttime jobs is maintaining stable blood sugar. Even while you're asleep, your brain still requires glucose to function. Since you're not eating, your liver carefully releases stored glucose into the bloodstream in controlled amounts. Think of it as a thermostat. It doesn't flood your body with sugar, nor does it allow levels to drop dangerously low. Instead, it constantly makes tiny adjustments to keep everything balanced. Now imagine what happens if you eat a large bowl of ice cream, several cookies, or a sugary cereal right before bed. Blood sugar rises sharply. Insulin rises to move that glucose into your cells. Instead of calmly managing overnight repair, your liver must immediately process excess sugar, package some of it into glycogen, and when glycogen stores are already full, convert the surplus into fat through a process called de novo lipogenesis. Over time, this repeated process contributes to fat accumulation inside the liver, a key feature of metabolic dysfunction. This is why bedtime nutrition matters far more than many people realize. The goal isn't to fear carbohydrates or avoid fruit altogether. It's to avoid overwhelming your liver during the very hours it's designed to recover. Another critical overnight task is producing and recycling glutathione, often called the body's master antioxidant. Glutathione helps neutralize free radicals generated through normal metabolism and environmental exposures. When oxidative stress remains high for long periods, liver cells become more vulnerable to inflammation and damage. Diets rich in antioxidant-containing whole foods can help support the body's natural defense systems, although no single food can replace an overall healthy lifestyle. This is where sleep quality becomes just as important as food quality. During deep sleep, growth hormone secretion increases, supporting tissue repair, protein synthesis, and healthy metabolism. At the same time, cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, should remain relatively low. But if you're sleeping poorly, staying up late scrolling on your phone, or waking frequently through the night, cortisol can remain elevated. Higher nighttime cortisol encourages the liver to release more glucose into the bloodstream, making blood sugar harder to control and increasing metabolic strain. Over months and years, that combination, poor sleep, elevated cortisol, excess insulin, and chronic inflammation, creates an environment where fatty liver disease becomes much more likely. The encouraging news is that your liver also has an extraordinary capacity to recover. Unlike many organs, the liver can regenerate and improve its function when the underlying causes of stress are addressed. Even modest improvements in diet, sleep, weight management, and physical activity have been shown to reduce liver fat and improve metabolic health over time. So before we even talk about the best fruit to eat before bed, it's essential to understand this principle. The fruit isn't the magic. The environment you create for your liver is. The right fruit simply becomes one more tool that supports your body's natural repair systems, instead of competing against them. And that's exactly what we'll explore next. Why one particular fruit stands out from the rest, what makes it unique, and how its natural compounds may help support both deeper sleep and healthier liver function. If you're finding this explanation helpful, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Every day, I share practical, evidence-based strategies that help you understand how your body works so you can make small, sustainable changes that support better health for years to come. Now that you understand why your liver does some of its most important work while you're asleep, the next question is obvious. Is there actually one fruit that can help support that process? The answer is yes, but not for the reason most people think. It's not because this fruit detoxifies your liver. It's not because it somehow melts away liver fat overnight. And it's certainly not because it's a miracle cure. Instead, this fruit supports several biological systems that work together to create a healthier environment for your liver to repair itself. The fruit I'm talking about is tart cherries. If you've never tried tart cherries, they're quite different from the sweet cherries you typically find in grocery stores during the summer. Tart cherries have a sharper flavor, lower sugar content than many sweet cherry varieties, and are naturally rich in anthocyanins, polyphenols, vitamin C, potassium, and other antioxidant compounds that have been extensively studied for their effects on inflammation, recovery, and sleep. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your liver is constantly balancing two competing forces. On one side is oxidative stress, the natural production of unstable molecules called free radicals that can damage cells if they accumulate. On the other side is your body's antioxidant defense system, which neutralizes those free radicals before they cause harm. Think of it like rust forming on a car. A small amount of oxidation happens naturally over time. But if the car is constantly exposed to moisture, salt, and neglect, the rust spreads much faster. The same principle applies to your liver. Everyday metabolism creates oxidative stress, but poor diet, excess body fat, chronic inflammation, alcohol, and insulin resistance accelerate the process. Tart cherries help because they're packed with compounds called anthocyanins, the pigments responsible for their deep red color. These plant compounds have been shown to help reduce oxidative stress and inflammation in the body. While they don't directly clean the liver, they may reduce some of the cellular stress that contributes to metabolic dysfunction over time. What the research shows is that diets rich in polyphenol-containing fruits and vegetables are associated with better metabolic health, healthier inflammatory markers, and improved cardiovascular function. Although no single fruit has been proven to reverse fatty liver disease on its own, incorporating antioxidant-rich foods into an overall healthy dietary pattern is consistently recommended for supporting liver health. But that's only half of the story. The second reason tart cherries are so interesting has nothing to do with the liver directly. It has to do with sleep. Tart cherries are one of the few natural food sources that contain small amounts of melatonin, the hormone that helps regulate your sleep-wake cycle. They also provide compounds that may support your body's own melatonin production and circadian rhythm. Now let's be clear, eating cherries doesn't produce the same effect as taking a high-dose melatonin supplement. The amount of melatonin naturally present in food is relatively small. However, several clinical studies have found that drinking Tart cherry juice or consuming Tart cherry products may modestly improve sleep duration and sleep quality, particularly in older adults and individuals with insomnia symptoms. Why does that matter for your liver? Because better sleep creates better metabolic conditions. During high-quality sleep, insulin sensitivity improves, nighttime cortisol remains lower, inflammatory signaling decreases, and your liver has more opportunity to carry out its normal repair processes without constant metabolic interruptions. In other words, the fruit isn't healing the liver directly. It's helping support the biological environment where healing is more likely to occur. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine you're trying to renovate a house. You hire the best construction crew in town, buy high-quality building materials, and create a detailed plan. But every 30 minutes, someone cuts off the electricity. The workers can't finish their job. Poor sleep does something very similar inside your body. Even if you're eating nutritious foods during the day, fragmented sleep repeatedly interrupts many of the hormonal and cellular processes responsible for recovery. By supporting better sleep, Tart cherries may help keep the lights on for your liver's overnight maintenance crew. There's another benefit many people overlook. Tart cherries are relatively low in calories while providing fiber, vitamins, and plant compounds. Fiber slows digestion, helps moderate blood sugar responses, and supports a healthier gut microbiome. That matters because the gut and liver communicate constantly through what's known as the gut-liver axis. When your gut microbiome is healthy, fewer inflammatory compounds travel to the liver through the portal vein. When the gut becomes imbalanced due to highly processed foods, excess sugar, or chronic inflammation, the liver often bears much of the burden. So supporting gut health indirectly supports liver health as well. Now, if Tart cherries aren't available where you live, don't worry. Fresh, sweet cherries can still be a nutritious choice when eaten in moderation. Other antioxidant-rich fruits like blueberries, blackberries, and kiwi also provide valuable polyphenols, vitamin C, and fiber that support overall metabolic health. Kiwi, in particular, has also been studied for its potential to improve sleep quality, likely due to its combination of serotonin precursors, antioxidants, and micronutrients. The key isn't chasing perfection. It's consistently choosing whole, minimally processed foods over sugary desserts, candy, pastries, or ultra-processed nighttime snacks. Because replacing a bowl of ice cream with a serving of antioxidant-rich fruit doesn't just reduce added sugar, it changes the entire metabolic message you're sending to your liver. And that brings us to one of the most overlooked pieces of the puzzle. Even the healthiest fruit can work against you if you eat too much of it or eat it at the wrong time. In the next section, we'll explore why timing, portion size, and food combinations are just as important as the fruit itself, and how a simple bedtime routine can help stabilize blood sugar, improve sleep, and give your liver the best possible chance to recover overnight. By now, you might be thinking, great, I'll just eat a large bowl of Tart cherries every night before bed. But this is where many well-intentioned people accidentally work against their own metabolism. Remember, functional medicine isn't about asking, is this food healthy? It's about asking, how does this food behave inside my body in this specific situation? Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your metabolism is highly sensitive to timing. The same food can produce different hormonal responses depending on when you eat it, what you eat it with, how active you've been, and your current level of insulin sensitivity. Think of your metabolism like traffic in a busy city. During rush hour, even a small accident can create miles of congestion. Late at night, with very little traffic, vehicles move much more smoothly. Your digestive system works in a similar way. Late in the evening, your body naturally begins shifting from active digestion toward repair and recovery. Melatonin starts rising, body temperature gradually falls, and many digestive processes slow down as your body prepares for sleep. Now imagine eating a massive dessert at 10:30 or 11 p.m. Instead of entering repair mode, your body suddenly has to digest hundreds of calories, manage a flood of glucose, release insulin, process fats, and store excess energy. Your liver, which was preparing for overnight maintenance, is pulled back into emergency processing mode. It's like calling the cleaning crew back to the office because someone just dumped another truckload of garbage into the building. This is why timing matters. For most people, the ideal window for a small bedtime snack, if one is needed at all, is about 60 to 90 minutes before sleep. This gives your digestive system time to begin processing the food while still allowing insulin levels to start coming back down before you fall asleep. And notice I said if one is needed. If you've eaten a balanced dinner and you're genuinely not hungry, there's no requirement to eat fruit before bed. More food isn't automatically better. The goal is supporting your body's natural rhythms, not forcing extra calories into your day. So how much fruit are we talking about? For most adults, a sensible serving is approximately 1/2 to 1 cup of fresh, tart, or sweet cherries, depending on individual calorie needs and blood sugar control. If you're using unsweetened tart cherry juice, keep the portion modest because juice contains far less fiber than whole fruit and can raise blood sugar more quickly. Whenever possible, choose the whole fruit. Why? Because fiber changes everything. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine pouring water through a wide open funnel. It rushes through almost instantly. Now imagine placing a fine filter inside that funnel. The same amount of water still passes through, but much more gradually. Fiber acts like that filter. It slows the absorption of natural sugars, creates a gentler rise in blood glucose, increases satiety, and provides fuel for beneficial gut bacteria. That's one reason whole fruit is generally metabolically preferable to fruit juice. Now here's another strategy that many people overlook. Instead of eating fruit completely by itself, consider pairing it with a small source of protein or healthy fat. For example, a handful of tart cherries with plain Greek yogurt, cherries alongside a few walnuts, kiwi with a spoonful of unsweetened cottage cheese, a small serving of berries with plain kefir. Why does this work? Protein and healthy fats slow gastric emptying, helping create a steadier release of glucose into the bloodstream. That means a smaller insulin response and more stable blood sugar overnight. This is especially important for people with insulin resistance, prediabetes, or type 2 diabetes, whose bodies already have difficulty managing glucose efficiently. Another common mistake is assuming that because fruit is natural, unlimited amounts are harmless. Even healthy foods contain calories and natural sugars. Eating 3 or 4 large bowls of fruit before bed isn't supporting liver health. It's simply providing more energy than your body needs. Remember our earlier principle, dose matters. Water is essential for life, yet drinking excessive amounts in a short period can be dangerous. Exercise is one of the healthiest things you can do, but overtraining without recovery increases injury risk. Nutrition follows the same rule. The healthiest foods still work best in appropriate amounts. There's another reason portion control matters for your liver. When glycogen stores, the liver's short-term carbohydrate storage system, are already full, excess carbohydrate intake, whether from added sugar or even large amounts of natural sugar, can contribute to fat production through de novo lipogenesis. While whole fruit is far less concerning than sugar-sweetened beverages or desserts because of its fiber and nutrient content, moderation remains important, particularly for individuals with metabolic dysfunction. This is why the overall dietary pattern matters much more than any single food. Every evening, you're either helping that process or making it more difficult. A heavy late-night meal, sugary desserts, frequent snacking, alcohol before bed, poor sleep, chronic stress. These habits force your liver to spend its energy managing metabolic overload instead of repairing itself. On the other hand, a balanced dinner, a consistent bedtime, a dark sleeping environment, a short walk after dinner, and, when appropriate, a modest serving of antioxidant-rich fruit like tart cherries can work together to create the conditions your liver needs to thrive. Let me leave you with one final analogy. Think of your liver as the engine in a car you plan to drive for the rest of your life. Most people wouldn't wait until the engine starts smoking before changing the oil or performing maintenance. They understand that regular care prevents major problems later. Your liver deserves that same level of attention. Not because something is wrong today, but because the choices you make now determine how well it will serve you 10, 20, or even 30 years from now. What the research consistently shows is that the greatest improvements in liver health don't come from extreme diets or expensive detox programs. They come from sustainable habits that improve insulin sensitivity, reduce chronic inflammation, support healthy body weight, and protect your circadian rhythm. That's encouraging because it means you don't need to be perfect. You simply need to become a little more consistent. If you remember nothing else from today's discussion, remember these 7 principles. Prioritize consistent, high-quality sleep every night. Finish your main meal 2 to 3 hours before bedtime whenever possible. If you're hungry later in the evening, choose a small portion of whole fruit, especially tart cherries when available, and pair it with a source of protein or healthy fat. Limit sugary desserts, ultra-processed snacks, and alcohol before bed. Take a short walk after dinner to support healthy blood sugar. Reduce screen exposure and bright lights during the last hour before sleep. Focus on long-term habits instead of searching for miracle foods or quick fixes. These are simple changes, but simple does not mean insignificant. Small decisions repeated every evening become powerful biological signals. Those signals influence your hormones, your blood sugar, your inflammation levels, your sleep, your liver, and ultimately your health span, the number of years you remain energetic, independent, and healthy. So here's my challenge for you. Tonight, choose just one change. Maybe it's replacing dessert with a small serving of tart cherries. Maybe it's eating dinner an hour earlier. Maybe it's taking a 15-minute walk after your evening meal. Or maybe it's simply putting your phone away 30 minutes before bed. Don't try to change everything at once. Master one habit, then build another. That's how lasting health is created. If this video helped you better understand how your liver works and gave you practical tools you can start using today, I'd really appreciate your support. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest evidence-based health discussions. And if you know someone who's struggling with fatty liver, prediabetes, poor sleep, or low energy, share this video with them. One simple conversation could help them take the first step toward better health. Thank you so much for watching and for investing your time in learning how your body truly works. Until next time, take care of your liver, prioritize your sleep, and remember, your body has an incredible ability to heal when you consistently give it the right environment.